What if I told you that one of America's most famous corporations, a symbol of a simple breakfast, once convinced the CIA to overthrow a democratically elected government? This isn't a spy thriller. This is a true story of money, power, and fruit. Welcome to the Money Files. Today we're diving into one of the most blatant examples of corporate interests dictating foreign policy, the 1954 CIA-backed coup in Guatemala. This is the story of how the United Fruit Company got what it wanted and how a nation paid the price. In the early 1950s, Guatemala was a democracy under President Jacobo Árbenz. His landmark policy was Decree 900, an ambitious land reform act. The goal was simple: redistribute unused, massive tracts of land to the landless poor to build a stable middle class. But there was a problem, a huge problem, named the United Fruit Company. This American corporation was a colonial-era powerhouse in Central America, nicknamed El Pulpo, the octopus, for its tentacles reaching into every part of the economy. In Guatemala alone, they owned over 40% of the best land, and most of it was left uncultivated. Under the new law, the Guatemalan government identified United Fruit's unused land and offered to buy it at the company's own declared tax value, a value the company had intentionally kept low to avoid paying taxes. It was a brilliant, and for United Fruit, a terrifying move. United Fruit panicked. This wasn't just about land, it was about their entire business model of control and cheap labor. They launched an intense lobbying campaign in Washington, D.C., framing Árbenz not as a reformer, but as a dangerous communist. This was the height of the Cold War, and the communist label was a powerful weapon. United Fruit had friends in very high places, including CIA Director Allen Dulles, whose law firm had represented the company, and Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, who was a major shareholder. The connection was undeniable. The company's narrative worked perfectly. President Eisenhower approved a covert CIA operation, codenamed PB Success, to remove Árbenz from power. The goal: protect American corporate interests under the guise of fighting communism. The coup itself was a masterclass in psychological warfare. The CIA set up a clandestine radio station, the Voice of Liberation, broadcasting fake news and threats to demoralize the Guatemalan army and public. They made it seem like a massive US-backed invasion was imminent. In reality, the invading force was tiny, just a few hundred poorly trained rebels. But the psychological pressure, combined with the withdrawal of US military support, broke the will of the Guatemalan army. They refused to fight. On June 27, 1954, with his support evaporated, President Jacobo Árbenz resigned. A CIA-picked military junta took over. So, what was the result? The new dictatorship immediately reversed the land reforms and crushed workers' rights. United Fruit kept its land and its power. But for Guatemala, the consequences were catastrophic. The coup plunged the country into a decades-long civil war that would claim over 200,000 lives, leaving a legacy of instability and violence that persists to this day. The Guatemala coup of 1954 is a stark lesson in the power of money. It shows how a corporation, when its profits are threatened, can manipulate governments and intelligence agencies to orchestrate a foreign policy that serves its bottom line with no regard for the human cost. It was a victory for shareholder value and a tragedy for a nation. This was the story of the billion-dollar banana coup. If you learned something about where money and power truly lie, hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories from the Money Files. Let us know in the comments what other corporate government secrets we should uncover next. Thanks for watching.